Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and if you're new, my name is LJ and you're watching NoClutch Garage. And today we're here with my friends M240i and we're going to show you how to do your oil change. But this video is actually about a product by Paradigm Engineering that was given to me a while back. Then I did too many upgrades to my car, wasn't able to put the part on, but I asked my friend if he would take the cap and he accepted, so we're gonna do that on his car. So here's the cap from Paradigm Engineering. It's made out of billet aluminum. This one is special because it has that magnet right there. That magnet right there picks up any metal that is in the oil, and so basically we have to understand what goes on in the motor, right? There's always going to be some sort of metal shavings. That's just over time, that's going to happen. Now how much comes out is what's going to be telling you if there's an issue or not. And with this magnet here, you can check the metal and make sure you're not catching any copper or anything like that, because then that would be a really bad sign. But we're gonna go ahead and show you how to install this in the car and show you how to do an oil change in the process. Alright guys, and before we get started, I'm gonna go ahead and show you the tools that you're gonna need. You're gonna need a 3/8 ratchet, you're gonna need an extender, you're gonna need a swivel, and you're gonna need a 32mm socket, and this one is short, and you will see why you would rather have these short. Now what we have to do first is we're gonna go ahead and take this cover off. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna identify the oil filter housing, which is actually right here. You can see the housing right there. We're gonna take our socket, swivel, and our extender, and we just placed over it like that. And then we just take our ratchet and take it right off. I give you a little bit of trouble, and this is definitely the most painful part of this process. I actually really don't like changing the oil on a different vehicle. So anyway, this is already loose. I think the cap is completely loose. So just pull it. In this case, the cap came off already, and then the filter, you can just pull it out. And there we go. Alright guys, now I want to show you the inside of the cap, and I don't know if you guys can see that little piece in the middle, but that's what's basically going to have to be transferred over to the new cap in order for it to function properly. Essentially what it is, it's a small valve, or a bypass valve, so we have to put that in the new cap. So let's go ahead and do that. Alright guys, so taking this apart is actually a little bit tedious and you have to be somewhat careful, but basically what I found worked the best is I grabbed my thumb and you can basically push it. Basically there's going to be 3 clips that are going to be holding it down, and right here what you want to do, in order for you to release the clips, it's just like anything else, you want to push them in, and once they're pushed in, you're able to pop it off. Let's go ahead and try that. Alright guys, so here is the cap. There are about 3 clips in there. I have found that it's easier if you try to pull it, like push it towards one side and then pop it off with like a screwdriver. It may take you a few tries, but that's generally the way to do it. I'm gonna leave some directions in the description down below so that you can do this in a very clean way and you don't have to damage anything. But basically the little clips are like right down there. Got it. Alright, so you guys couldn't see that, but I was pushing down on these little clips right here. You want to push these 2 in first and then pop them out, and then you're gonna stick another screwdriver and push this one in, and it should pop it out. So that's the way I did it. It takes a little bit of patience. You don't want to break these clips because you don't want them to break in the new cap. Once you have this piece out though, grab your new cap. You look at these tabs that are going to be holding it down. So there are also these little notches in here that it's going to go into. So you look at the notches, you look at this, you place it, and then you should be able to just pop it in place. Again, lots of patience. Now that we have this in here and it's more or less that OEM cap design, we're going to take our man filter. I recommend man filters. This is the only filter that I ever used. These don't tend to disintegrate. as much as the BMW ones do. Also, keep in mind that even though BMW says every 10,000 miles is acceptable for you to get oil changes, I have always tended to use these filters and do my oil changes every 5,000 miles instead of 10, basically because I want to avoid these from disintegrating. And also now I'm at a point where my car just gets regular oil changes, period, just because of the build. But for those of you guys that are OEM and even, you know, OEM plus, definitely recommend you changing this every 5,000 miles. So now we have the filter. There are two sides to the filter. You're gonna have this side down here with these little notches, and then you're gonna have this side that is kind of hollow or concave, right? So what we want to put is we want to put this one with the little notches in this way, and that's the way it's gonna go. Now this man filter also comes with a brand new gasket. We just take some motor oil or something and just lubricate it. Once it's lubricated, we're gonna put it on the cap, and we're gonna put it on the second notch right here. It's gonna wrap around, and that's what's gonna make sure that our cap stays sealed. Now that we have this cap ready, we're gonna go to the car, under the car, and here I have a lift. So if you don't have a lift, you can do it on jack stands, but I'm gonna show you what goes on in the car, what needs to be done in order to change the oil. Alright guys, first things first, there's gonna be a little flap under your car, and this one you can just turn with a screwdriver. If it's too damaged, you might just be able to get away with turning it by hand, but generally I'm just going to turn it and then have it pop open, and once it's open it's going to reveal a nut. Alright guys, and once you see the nut, this nut is actually a 17mm nut. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen it. I have here prepared something to catch it with, so we're going to lift this to the right height. Next thing, I'm going to grab 17mm socket, and we're going to open it up. Once it's unlocked, make sure your engine is cold, or it's going to burn you as soon as it's opened. Just let it drain. So we're going to give it about 10 to 15 minutes to fully drain, and we will be back. Alright guys, so when you go to put the new plug in, you actually want to change out these crush washers, and the man kit comes with them. Put a new one in, and then you can go ahead and put the plug back in, tighten it, and then lower the car back down since we have a lift, and then we're going to be able to put the cap back on, put the oil in, and the car should be good to go. So I don't have an exact torque spec for this, but just make it where it's tight and the crush washer needs to actually be crushed, and that should be enough. So we're done down here. Okay, so the last step in this whole process is to grab your filter and cap and go ahead and install it. So here on the cap, there's actually a torque spec, 25mm. So for that, I got my torque wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and place this in here. And the cap is a little bit heftier, so it will probably take you a minute or two to. And then once it is in place, we're gonna grab our torque wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and reset it and zero it out. Set it to 25mm. There we go. Go ahead and put it on. There we go. And now it's in. So I don't know how well you can see that, but the cap is in there. It looks so good. Really like how it looks in there. So yeah, that's basically it for that. That's it for the cap. And of course, the last thing we got to do is we got to put some oil in the car, and for that we use liquid moly SAE 5W40. This is just my preference and what we use around in the shop. My car will be switched over to AMSOIL. It's a group 5 oil, but liquid moly is really good. That's basically it for this video, guys. So let's finish up the car. Let's go ahead and put oil in the car, start it up, and that will be it. Last step, just fill it up with oil. This engine takes 7 quarts, so each one of these big liquid moly jugs is 5 quarts. So if you're using these big ones, you're gonna need 2 of them. Otherwise, you're gonna need one of these and 2 small quart bottles. Last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wipe off any oil you might have spilled. Run the cap. Replace the cap. Put our engine cover back on. And we're done. So another thing that we have to do is we have to go into the car and reset your service warning. So we go in here, we're gonna press our BC button. Now that we're in here, we wanna clear that service warning right there. Service due since 30 miles. So we're actually gonna press this button right here and it'll take a minute. So there's your engine oil reset possible. You long press again. It asks reset. Long press again to reset. Tells you reset in progress. And there you go. Now it's reset. It says 7,000 miles. Like I said before, ideally you want it to be 5,000, but 7,000 is fine. It's happy medium between 5,000 and 10,000, so there's nothing wrong with that. And then we go ahead and turn it off, and we are done. So here we have it. Fresh oil change, and it sounds great. New oil. So you can see in here, well, I don't know if you can see, but that cap is sealed tight. There isn't going to be absolutely anything leaking out of that. That's pretty much it, guys. Alright guys, that's it for today's video. Shout out to Paradigm Engineering for sending us that cap and allowing us to show it to you guys. I want to thank my friend Andrew for letting me use his car for this content, and I hope that you guys consider this mod. These caps tend to break after so many miles. I'd say that for peace of mind, it's a good mod. Also, you don't mar this up. I know a lot of times some people and some mechanics are not very careful with these, and they end up marring this piece right here, which means that you're gonna have a really difficult time taking this off. Just for that alone, it's a really good idea. But also the cap is made out of billet aluminum, which means it's not gonna crack. And these could crack. I haven't personally seen any that have cracked yet, but it's plastic, and we all know BMW plastic cracks at some point or another. Of course, you have the magnet on the new cap, which is gonna help a ton when it comes to diagnosing or like looking at the health of your oil. But other than that, guys, that was the Paradigm Engineering billet cap and how to change your oil all in one. So hope you guys enjoyed it. Talk to you guys later. Peace.